Hi everyone, welcome back to the Charmed Almanac, where I talk about anything and everything that interests me, which includes movies. And in today's video, we're going to talk about three particular movies that I'm obsessed with because of the absolute fashion divas that are portrayed in them. The costume design is impeccable, and I love, love, love to watch them for what they're wearing. Like these characters, I wanna be them in their clothes. Not necessarily them. Some of them go through some crazy stuff. But yes, I'm very into anything and everything that has to do with culture. Culture, darling, culture. And film is one of them. I love watching movies, from very old movies to very contemporary, weird, niche movies. I am a Criterion Channel patron. Yes, I do pay for the Criterion Channel. And yeah, this is like a little video essay on some fashion divas. And we can make this a series because I have many more movies and characters that I can go on about. Cheers. That's not wine. That's mineral water with tart cherry juice because it's supposed to help you sleep. And it's bedtime soon. Let's start. Okay, let's start with the movie Leave Her to Heaven. And this movie came out in 1945. It's a noir thriller. But around this time, like in the 40s, they were doing Technicolor noirs instead of black and white. And we have Jean Tierney. So I had a bit of an issue pronouncing that last name, so no one come for me. Jean Tierney, who plays Ellen, fashion diva number one, fashion diva villain, psychopath number, just one, because the other ones aren't. She is gorgeous. Let's begin with that. She literally looks like a porcelain doll. And in this movie, you get a feast of 1940s fashion and beauty. Her hair, her lipstick, red lipstick, even when she's swimming, her nails, her loungewear. Oh my goodness. She is perfect. She's polished and perfect and luxurious. And I'm going to give you a short synopsis on this movie. I'm not going to give away any spoilers because this movie has some good moments that I don't want to spoil for you all. You have to go watch this movie. And Jean Tierney did another film, Noir, where she played another femme fatale. I think it's called Laura. I did watch that one. Also, good twist in that movie. And in this one, Leave Her to Heaven, we start with a train ride where Ellen, Jean Tierney, again, is reading a book, and the author of that book is on that train, and they're heading to New Mexico. And he sees that she's reading his book, and she looks at him. He's like, "Oh my goodness, this woman is insanely gorgeous. Like, stop right there. Who is she?" And she's reading my book. And she's like, I like you. Obviously, because she's reading his book. And she has this insane gaze. Like, he gazes at her, like, think the male gaze, but she's gonna gaze back at you. Like, she's gonna put you in your place with that gaze. She's gonna pierce your soul, and you're gonna have to, like, look away. She's gonna make you nervous. And that's what she does to him. But he is obsessed with how pretty she is. And so they're in New Mexico, and they realize that they're gonna stay at a similar friend's house. And she's going there because she wants to spread her dad's ashes. She was very, very in love with her dad. Like, she was daddy's girl. Ew. But not like that, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, she loved her dad intensely. She was very, like, possessive of her dad. And her mother and her sister, I think she's her, like, adopted sister, go with her as well. And Anyway, Richard and Ellen, they start like a little love affair. And then Ellen's fiance shows up. She's like, oh, who, you? No, I'm marrying Richard. And he's like, what? You're marrying me? She's like, yeah, we're getting married. And he's like, okay, fine. And she marries him because she wanted him. Because she's going to get what she wants. She gets what she wants. Ellen. Nothing's going to get in her way. She's alpha woman. She's very possessive. She's very jealous. What's hers is hers, and she's going to get it. And she gets Richard. Anyway. So she spreads her dad's ashes in this like insanely intense equestrian scene with her horse. And it's like, you know, very horse girl. But the clothing there, horse girls, take notes. Amazing equestrian style. The pants, the ponytail. Like, yeah. Like, if I were ever dreaming to be a horse girl, that's what I'd want to look like. Anyway. So after they get married, they go to Richard's main lake house because he wants to ride there. But he also takes in his brother, who is paraplegic. He can't move and relies a lot on him for care there. And when they were like taking him out of the hospital or like the facility that he was being cared for, Ellen was like, you sure, doctor? Like, I think he's really sick. Like, I don't want him. Basically, he's like, what's wrong with you? Like, woman, the heck? That's your brother-in-law. And she's like, oh, gosh. Why must they all come in between me and Richard? And her mother's always telling Richard, like, it's because Ellen just loves too much. That's her curse. And you're like, what? Her mother and her sister are, like, real scared of her. Anyway, at the main lake house, things happen. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Things happen. She's very jealous. You're not gonna get away with it. You're not gonna get away with it. Okay? But she has this amazing, impeccable clothes. Like, let's just talk about that. She's gorgeous. Like, her clothes, gorgeous. Her monogrammed silk loungewear. Like, she's not gonna look like shit. Her pajamas. Like, those are not pajamas. That's sleepwear. I don't know. Like, my favorite look of hers is in this very famous scene where I think it's a robe that she wears over her bathing suit. But it looks so good. It's tailored. Her shoulders, woof, sharp. You know, she's very feminine everywhere. Frilly pinks, you know, whites, silks. She's got these sharp shoulders, and I feel like that shows the sharpness of Ellen. Anyway, she's got this sharp robe with like this thick stitching. And she looks very cool. Like, it's almost very modern. That look stands the test of time. And she has these cool sunglasses just there. And you need to watch that scene to understand why she's just there. Anyway, she loves the monogram too, which I kind of love. Like, you know, everything is personalized with Ellen. Like, she's that luxurious. She's got like everything has been thought out of, impeccably clean. Like, she looks so clean. But not only that, it's personalized. She has her monograms in these very interesting ways too. Like, she wears this dress with her monograms right here at the center of her chest. And her clothing, like her sleepwear, has the monograms. And fun fact, this is where my like weird obsession when I was young with like the 1950s comes in clutch, 1960s too. Jean Tierney was married to Oleg Cassini, and Oleg Cassini was the fashion designer that dressed Jackie Kennedy during her time as First Lady. Yes. So Jean Tierney, she's got fashion in her marriage. And there is a costume designer attributed to the film. What's the name? Kay Nelson. Yes, I have notes to keep myself on track. Kay Nelson. But it is said that Oleg Cassini did dabble in her costume design in her films and in this one. And the monograms on her clothing and the fabrics are attributed to Ole Cassini. So, oh, she wears like very lots of creams, cute little hats, red lipstick, red nails. Like, she makes you second guess your allegiance to morality because you're like, damn, she's like the epitome of pretty privilege. Even like she gets away with a lot for a long time because of how pretty she is to Richard and to everyone around her. Like, you don't want to believe, or you almost don't care about what she does. Or the movie makes you feel that way sometimes with how she presents because of how pretty she is and how pretty her clothes is, how pretty the movie is. It's very idyllic. It's like at a lake house. It's at a really cute little country home. Like, and then there's this literal psychopath. Anyway, that's the first movie y'all should watch. Also, I live in Houston, and Jean Tierney is buried here. I might go to her gravesite. Yeah, because she married like a oil tycoon or something. Donkey Skin. That came out in 1970, directed by none other than Jacques Demy. Jacques Demy. I love Jacques Demy. Oh, gosh. My favorite French New Wave director. Also, he was married to Agnes Varda. And I say that with Spanish, like Mexican accent there, because I can't say it in the French. Who also is an amazing director, and he was bi. So queerness, yes, we love a queer king. Jacques Demy and color. Oh, like all of his films. Oh, like I can't get like I just like it makes me so happy. I'm digressing, but also like if like Wes Anderson who like he's watching Jacques Demy. But anyway, let's go into this movie because this movie's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. It's a wild ride. And my fashion diva in this movie is the princess, played by none other than Catherine Deneuve. She's gorgeous too. Yeah. And this movie is based off of a fairy tale that was published in, let's see, 1695 and was written in verse by Charles Perrault. I'm not French, guys. I'm sorry. Perrault. Anyway, he wrote like Cinderella. You know, that one? Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty. But there's also Donkey Skin. That's how old the story is. And it's weird. It's ancestral, if I must say so myself. Well, actually, the synopsis is like, that's the plot. So the movie starts off at the Blue Kingdom. Yes, because it's a fantasy movie. We meet the king of the Blue Kingdom, who has a wife, the queen, who's very pretty, also played by Catherine Deneuve. And she makes him promise to not marry anyone unless they're prettier than her. That's like his dying promise to her. And he's like, okay, damn. Like, that's really hard. And he's not successful. But then, one day his daughter passes by. And he's like, you are prettier than your mother and you look just like her. I have to marry you. She's like, what the fuck? Heavily disturbed, obviously. She's like, I don't want to marry my father. And she calls up her fairy godmother, who's like dressed in this like almost 1950s negligee, purple negligee, and she sings this weird song about the taboos of incest, love. And so she tells her, look, have him give you things that are impossible to get. And 3 of those things were three impossible dresses. Okay. And this movie is really it's insanely colorful. Very obviously a demi color. Very playful, whimsical, anachronistic, but also kind of garish, kind of tacky. But like, it works. You're not completely gonna be like, oh, this is a tacky movie. No, the garishness works in the favor of this movie. Okay, so she tells her dad, who's asking for her hand in marriage, get me a dress the color of the weather. He's like, what? Okay, I'll try. And he accomplishes it. The way they got this to look good on film is that they used materials of a movie screen and they projected illusions on the fabric. Not insane. So he accomplished it and she's like, oh my God, again? And so the second dress she asks for is the color of the moon. And he goes to the dressmakers. He's like, get me the color of the moon dress now. And this one's my favorite. I love the moon, you know. Look, so much so, dears, that I have none other than Artemis here. She's right here. Goddess of the moon. Yes, this is my favorite dress. I'm a silver girl. You know what? I love all the gold medals and the silver medals, but I do have a soft spot for the silver. And so he gets it. Oh, so good. It's such a good look. Also, there's a scene with her, with the dress, and there's like a moon projected over her moss bed. I want that room. I want that bedroom. That's my dream bedroom. The AC just turned off. Sorry, guys. That's literally, this is what I want. This, like, I could die in that room and be happy. But whatever. And then, so she's like, okay, then get me a dress the color of the sun. And he gets it. And she's glorious in this dress. She looks ethereal. She looks queenly. And she's like, oh shit, what do I do? And so the very last thing she asks for is the donkey skin of this magical donkey that this kingdom has that literally shits jewels and gold and has made this kingdom rich. And he kills the freaking donkey that produced wealth for him so that she would marry him. And now she's like, shit and bricks. Now she's like, oh no. No. She's freaking out. She's like, can't do this. Can't, guys. Like, this is fucking weird. This is gross. This is ancestral. This is abusive. So she runs away with the donkey skin in her white nightgown to like a different kingdom. And she dresses up in the donkey skin. And she looks like dirty. It's almost like a literal way of how she's feeling after her freaky, creepy dad has made her feel dirty. Like this child who's faced with this crazy abusive situation and coming to grips with that. So she works at this kingdom and she lives in this random shack. And the prince of this kingdom sees her and like falls in love with her, obviously. And they have this amazing idyllic frolic scene with the sun and they're like rolling. It's very 1970s in that way. This movie kind of feels like did you all watch Love Witch? It has a similar like 1970s vibe. I don't know how to pinpoint it, but like this weird fantasy time, medieval times of the 70s. All is well because she does end up marrying the prince and her dad ends up coming out of a helicopter. Yes, this is where it gets like kind of, fever dreamish with the fairy godmother and they're engaged. So thankfully he backed the fuck off. Freaky ass man. Freaky ass situation. Freaky situation. And everyone lived happily ever after because this is a fairy tale. So the costume designers for this movie were Magrini and Agostino Pace. Agostino Pace was an artist. And really, honestly, they like knocked it out of the park, guys. Like, these gowns are amazing. According to Catherine Deneuve, they were very heavy. Very, very heavy. And they actually got lost. They don't know where they are, the original ones. So whichever ones you see now are replicas. That's kind of unfortunate that, like, no one thought to keep the costumes. Now, guys, the third and final one. This video is getting long. I'm telling you. We can make this a series because I have a list, an ongoing list. Our last, but not least, fashion diva comes from the movie What a Way to Go, which came out in 1964. And this movie, guys, is so much fun. This is camp. This movie is camp, camp, camp. You want to know what camp is? Watch this movie. And I love camp. Some of the movie stills have been making their rounds around the social medias because I have seen stills of this movie throughout. The fashion diva that we are going to look at here is Louisa May Foster. And she was played by Shirley Maclaine. This character was actually written for Marilyn Monroe, but she passed away before filming. Marilyn Monroe was like one of the first actresses I was like obsessed with her lore. Like, I had pictures of her in my bedroom when I was 12 that I bought on eBay. And then I was scared of them because I thought her spirit was in them. And I wasn't scared of Marilyn per se, but I believe so much in the image. This is why I'm an art historian, guys. You know who the costume designer for this movie was? Let's take a moment. Edith Head. Yes, Edith Head, guys. That's it. That's all I have to say about why you need to watch this for the costume. If you want to have a fun time, watch this movie. Because it's about a notorious widow. Not really notorious, but like, it starts off with this widow at a psychiatrist's office, crying. She wants to donate her wealth to the IRS. He's like, what? And so she goes on to recount her marriages. So when she was young, her mother was like, marry rich, daughter. You don't want to be poor like me. Use your youth for your benefit. Because the rich guy in town was kind of interested in her. But she was like, no, mother. I long for the simple life. The idyllic, simple, romantic life. And she has like this fascination with the author Henry David Thoreau. And so she meets this other character who's poor and kind of gives that vibe. His name is Edgar Hopper, and he's played by Dick Van Dyke. All like the men casting has like really good actors in it. Like, she got a good set of men here to play her husbands. And so what happens in this movie is that Edgar, they're living in their cute little shack cabin. She's like having her little romantic, simple life. She's so happy. And he's like, I want to give you more. Like, this, you don't deserve this. And so he has like this, he becomes like a department store tycoon. And they begin to live a wealthier life. She starts seeing less of him. He works so much to the point he like collapses and dies. And she's just like, oh no, I'm a widow and my husband died. And she's just like, what? Besides herself. But after that, she moves to Paris to reinvent herself. She's living, her very Parisian, simple wine and bread, baguette life. There she meets like a starving artist type. Oh, I forgot to mention the man that was into her, that was wealthy, and her mother was like, get married to him. He's Dean Martin, you know? Dean Martin, the one that's like, when the moon hits her eyes like a big pizza pie, that's Amore. That's Dean Martin. And he comes back later. Again, I'm not gonna tell you guys the whole thing. You guys have to go watch this. So after my guy Edgar dies, she goes to Paris and she marries like the starving artist type. And he's played by Paul Newman. Very handsome Paul Newman. And he's, like very typical, like, art is art and suffering. Like very stereotypical. And this is during like abstract expressionism, like Jackson Pollock types. And she transforms in her marriage here too. Like she starts wearing more color, geometrical lines. Their lifestyle and their apartment takes on this aesthetic that aligns with her artist husband. And she's like living all these lives. Like, those Sylvia Plath girls are like the fig tree. She's like plucking all of them. She's living all of them. She's living the art type life. And I kind of love this marriage because as someone who's worked in the art world and has worked with artists, it's kind of fun to see these histories or these types satirized because it's really interesting. It's kind of like that. If y'all seen Beetlejuice, the second one, that also gets the vibe. It's a lot of fun for us art hoes. Okay. Sorry, I got a little bit like sidetracked. Anyway, he gets greedy. He becomes very successful also. Makes a lot of money. Becomes a world-renowned artist. And he dies as well. And they also like pay less attention to Louisa after they become successful. She's like, hey guys, like I just want to be married and happy. Like stop what you're doing. And they don't. And she's like noticing a pattern now. She's like, oh gosh, whatever. She moves on from the Paris life, meets a wealthy man. And she's like, you know what? If he's already rich, he's like richest bachelor, he's not going to get rich. He's not going to want more wealth. He's already rich. But psych. He gets even richer. And in this one, she lives like very like height of luxury, honey. She wears jewelry made by Harry Winston, literally. Harry Winston. The budget for this movie was crazy. They spent a lot of money and it wasn't as successful as I thought it was going to be. But the budget was insane. Like Harry Winston did the jewelry, guys. And she wore that in this marriage with the wealthy guy. She's a little more luxurious here. She's more like a height of society woman. This is sort of the looks she's pulling here. They like, have fun in a champagne cup. That type of life. But he dies. And in this marriage, she has that like diamond draping down her back look. That is referenced by Sabrina Carpenter. Okay, now she's like, goodness gracious. I can't catch a break. All my husbands die. She's like a literal Black Widow, but she makes them really rich. And she ends up being rich because she inherits all their money. She doesn't want it. She's like wants to donate it to the IRS, guys. That's the funny part. I'm telling you, this is camp. Last husband we get in the series of dead husbands is Pinky. She meets him like in a small town. He's this sad performer that dresses up as a clown that no one pays attention to. You know who plays him? Gene Kelly. Yes, Gene Kelly. Again. I love Gene Kelly. Okay. And this is where we get one of my favorite outfits. My favorite outfit. A lot of outfits in this movie are my favorite. But Pinky, you know, they get married and they're living in an apartment on top of where he works. You know, she loves like this like poor. She really romanticizes being poor. She doesn't want to be rich. She wants to be the opposite of that. She wants to be poor and happy. She's like, you know what, honey? What if you don't wear your clown outfit? Maybe you'll do better. And he doesn't. He goes out there and he doesn't wear the clown outfit. Takes her advice. And people look at him. They're like, oh my God, he can dance and he can sing so well. Like they couldn't look past the clown outfit before that. Yes, he skyrockets. Yes, he becomes an ultra star, honey. And everything in his world is pink. He demands everything to be painted pink. He demands all of his things to be pink. She wears pink head to toe. This is the look I'm talking about that I love. Pink is, again, one of my favorite colors, if not top two. It's pink and purple. And yeah, she wears this amazing pink wig, amazing fur with the color, like gown and diamonds. So good. Louisa May Foster is not known to be like a Marilyn Monroe, like a beauty, but she does so well in like, she's like a very good chameleon. Like she blends so well with each look that Edith has her in, and in each life that this husband has her in. And he doesn't, like Gene Kelly, the Pinky, has said, he's like starts, you know, not paying attention to her. He's kind of crazy, kind of an egomaniac, you know. There's this cool scene where she's at their mansion's pool and there's a painter literally painting everything pink. Even the pool was pink. And she's there like suntanning in her black bikini. Very skimpy bikini, guys. For the 60s. Like, people have been talking about current fashions and how skimpy they are. Look at that bikini. It's kind of iconic. And the painter looks at her and he's like, I might paint you pink. And she's like, hell no. And she runs. That was hilarious. Okay. He also dies, obviously. If you haven't gotten it, he dies. And so that's where we go back to her being at the psychiatrist's office. And then again, all these movies have like a really fun twist. Like you have to wait. I'm not going to tell you more about this. But I love this movie because it really shows you the power of clothing. How much one can embody a certain life, a certain way of being and presenting yourself. And she gets to play in all these different versions. It's like if you love makeover scenes in movies, you know, or like when they go to the mall and like they like dress up. If you love those scenes, you're gonna love this movie because it's extravaganza of that. You get that in every husband. It's very aware of its artifice, and this is again why it's camp. Like they know what they're doing. Edith Head, when she was planning the wardrobe, she kind of just focused on Louisa May Foster's wardrobe, and other people did the other characters because she knew how much it was going to be integral to the movie and the storytelling. And it just shows like clothing as signifier of social status, of personality, ideals, conveying a certain persona and profession. How well it captures all that. I watch that movie kind of ever so often because of how fun it is and how much it plays with style and clothing. The references, I love the artistry that goes behind costume design. This will most likely become like a series in the future. I'll have more to talk about. These things live in my head. Always. And one day I like randomly draw from this visual information that I love and I'm obsessed with and that feeds me. And so I hope this was nourishing to you all. It was a pleasure, guys. It was a pleasure. Chin chin, cheers, cheers. Good night. Good night.